Here we go, guys. You ready? 1971 Plymouth RoadRunner. The color is Go Green. Or is it Green Go? Green Go. Straight roller. I have a 340 that came out of that old rally car video you seen 8 months ago. Hasn't been started in 30 years. I got the matching number transmission that was rebuilt. Needs to get put together. Let's drop it in. Let's see if we can't start that old 340 up. Burn a tire or two maybe. Who knows? All I know is let them rip, not rot. Here we go. No turning back now. All right, guys, let's do the walk around real quick. Let's see what we're working with here. Let's do the, my favorite thing to do, the butt sniffing thing with these cars. See what we're working with, and who knows? Maybe we can fire her up. All right, so we got the real deal. 71 Plymouth RoadRunner, one of my favorite body styles. Right after the 70, they changed over to this body style, which I love, by the way. I think these are bad to the bone. This car is my buddy Larry's car, okay? It's not mine. He just asked me if I was up to the challenge on trying to get it running. And he caught me in a good mood, and I didn't have nothing going, and I'm like, bring that prick over here. Let's start today. So you remember what I said? It's Green Go is the color scheme on it. I kept thinking lime green, but it's not. Needs some love, as you can see. Was an automatic bench seat car out of the factory. Came out of St. Louis, Missouri. Somebody had a floor shifter in it at one time, but it was a column shift car. But it is a real deal, RM VIN code. So we know we're good there, not playing with no satellite, which, I love a satellite too, but RoadRunner is so much cooler. The video, okay, 1971 Challenger. It's the orange car. You'll see Jade and I grabbed that motor and trans out of it, and I sold it to my buddy Larry, and it was just kind of sitting at his shop. And then we started brainstorming back and forth, and I'm like, hey, let's put that motor in the yellow truck that you guys see. That, let's see how bad of the bone this motor is. And he's like, well, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just go ahead and throw it in the RoadRunner for me. And I was like, okay, let's do that. And then I was like, even better, I'll one-up you with letting you grab that yellow truck, and we could use it for anything we need, because that yellow truck's pretty roasted. And 318 smoking like a chimney, yada yada. But if we need like anything off that yellow truck, heck yeah, it's perfect for a donor, right? And you still got a truck and stuff like that you could, use it for other things too. But so here's the engine that came out of the 71 rally car, numbers matching to the trans. It is a 340. It's got 340 right on the side. The motor's free. It's not stuck or anything, so I think we'll be okay. Knock on wood. And so we're going to drop it in the Plymouth, all ready to go. I went through a little bit and did a little butt sniffing with it last night, kind of cleaned up some wiring, zip tied some stuff up to the firewall. I redid the little starter relay, redid the grounds, and just kind of cleaned up the terminals, which will always bite you in the butt when you're trying to do this stuff, because these terminals get rusty and corroded, and then they're not making good connections. So I went over and redid that. And transmission, here you guys go. Here's the tranny for it. This was all redone by my friend Dennis. He's an awesome transmission guy, and he's an awesome Mopar guy, just a good friend. And but we're all car guys together, so we all know each other. So he redid this transmission for my buddy Larry, put a 2500 stall in it, which I think will be perfect for this car. It looks all pretty, ready to go. I didn't show you guys this side. We'll probably end up cleaning it out just because I can't stand working on these cars when they're nasty like this. And just kind of figure out some of the wiring under the dash, make sure everything looks legit. I really want to try to fire this thing up off the key, but if I got to use my little starter button, just our basic goal here, guys, today, well, not today, but for this video anyway, is just to get this motor fired up. Not to drive the car or do burnouts yet, just want to fire up this motor. Just make sure it ain't knocking or tapping or anything crazy. I mean, that motor's been in that car for years. That 71 rally car that I grabbed that motor and tranny out of, that Jade and I did together, I knew about that car when I was 22 or 23 years old, sitting in that carport. And I heard it was there probably 10 years before that. So that just gives you an idea of how many years it's been since that motor's been fired up. There's a trick to that little door latch, and you open the door too far, it won't close.
That light's got a hold on me, you can tell by the way I'm talking. I see they got a hold on you, I can tell by the way you're walking. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. July comes and you burn out in the sun, and it's hotter than a jungle too. Praying for the winter, but it ain't much better when your feet are freezing off in your boots. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot.
All right, so we got one side off, and lucky for us, and I was telling you, turn this camera here for you so you see me. And I was telling you this engine I knew turned over. I made sure it turned over or spun over before I even let Larry grab it, because if it was locked up, then it had to be all rebuilt and stuff like that, which it may still have to be rebuilt. But for this and our old ratty Plymouth, let's just see what she does. You know what I'm saying, right then. Anyway, but like I said, they greased up everything real nice before before it sat for all these years. So everything looks good on the rockers. I'm gonna go ahead and just start just letting oil just run down everything, put it in everywhere that I could think of, and just let it kind of just sit in there. And while we put it in and all that, it'll have a few days just to, run through everything and try to get in all the little places that are really dry. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
It's getting hot, mama. Oh, it's getting hot. That light's got a hold on me, you can tell by the holes in my pockets. So before they get a hold on.
All right, so we got the intake off. I'm kind of glad I wasn't going to at first, but I started thinking about it. I'm like, I know you guys would tell me, take the intake off. You should have put a bunch of oil down on the cam. And I'm like, yeah, after I started thinking about it. I'm like, might as well just do it right. And it's real clean. Cam looks good. It's a purple shaft cam. I don't know the numbers on it, but they greased it, which is nice. So I don't know if it almost looks brand new, like a brand new cam. I don't see any wear on it. And they might have just rebuilt this motor, threw it in, and that was it. I don't even know if they started it. So I'm gonna put some zinc in it, and we'll do the the good oil for like a cam break-in, just in case. It isn't gonna hurt it anyway. And zinc additive is what I always put when you get a new cam in some of these motors or these engines. And we'll clean out the valley here, just get some of the cork. I see there's a little bit of cork gasket down in here, which, I am glad. You know what, it might even be rust just from sitting for so many years. So I am glad I pulled this apart. And we'll get all this cleaned out and put it back together, and we might even be able to drop this thing in today.
It's getting hot, mama. Yeah, it's getting hot. Take a train ride, hop out on the east side. The women there look right, but they ain't looking at you. You ain't got nothing, don't try to give them some. They don't want it even if you do. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot. It's getting hot, mama. It's getting hot.
Good morning, neighbors. Got to grab my coffee over here. Back at it. Probably about day 2 on this bad boy here. Anyway, so what was I going to tell you? Oh, so we got the engine compartment painted. You've seen that. Last night I got motivated and I came back out and I needed to figure out this wiring harness. I knew I'm pretty good at Mopar because I've had so many of them. But I'm not 100%. There's still a couple wires here and there that I'm like, well, I don't know where that goes. But mymopar.com can get you guys through. They have free wiring diagrams, just throwing it out there, because everybody wants you to buy them, which is cool. They do give you like a nice colored one, and they'll put it laminated for you for like 10 bucks or whatever. I've done that before too on a couple Mustangs, but if you want to just get by and get it done now so you don't have to wait, like I said, my Mopar was free. 71s, GTX, Sati, and what is this, RoadRunner. Just printed them off and cut them and put them together, and then I kind of highlighted some of the wires that I needed to find. So we're doing pretty good. We're looking good. I'm feeling comfortable. Now it's time to drop that freaking 340 in. I'm gonna get it up in the air, spin it around a couple times, just get the oil flowing a little bit in it. I do like to, if I had a long enough rod, I'll put it on the end of the drill, and I've seen guys, spin the drill, and it just circulates that oil pump, and it'll start pushing up into the motor. I love to do that, but I don't think I got a oil pump rod that long or something I could get down in there. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but right now we'll just spin it around a few times, dump a little bit more oil on the cam. I need to get the cam number. My good friend Dennis was saying the transmission he built for this car is, I want to say it was an 1800 to 2000 stall. If you remember that red Super Bee, that thing had a nasty, gnarly cam in it. I think I was using a 2500 stall, and it seemed to do okay. This one here, I got to see what size purple shaft they threw in it and see if that 1800 to 2000 will do okay for this car. I hate to put it all back together, and then the cam is way too big, and it's, the stall isn't where it needs to be, and I got to take it apart again. I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get her up in the air. Let's spin this bad boy over a few times. And the goal today is to drop that 340 in. I'm not saying bolt it up or anything. I'm just saying let's get it in the engine cradle and let's start putting together from there. All right, here we go.
That light's got a hold on me. I'm hurting, man, I'm bleeding. New York City's the place to be. If a hard time you've been needing, it's getting hard, mama. Oh, this is getting hard. It's getting hard, mama.
You know what that is? That's the oil pump gear. Rides on the back of this, the camshaft and then into the distributor. So I needed that for my 340 because of course there wasn't one in there. And this one wasn't too painful to get out. If you twist them with a screwdriver, I kind of was cleaning on it with a carb cleaner down in there just to get all the grit off. And then I made this little rig. Where is it? Oh, I took just like one of my old screwdrivers and put torches to it and just kind of like bent a little hook on it and just went back and forth, and it finally gave up and pulled out. So you could get these without having to drop craziness out of the motor. Just got to work at them and they'll come right out. So we're gonna go put this in the 340, put the distributor on. Maybe I'll do a couple other things. My mission was to get distributor in, intake manifold, and I was kind of just gonna play it by ear from there. But if we're gonna keep on, if everything's gonna work smooth and I'm not gonna run into a bunch of hang-ups where I gotta throw tools, then we'll go ahead and keep on rolling. So let's do it. Well, hi neighbors. I feel like I'm Mr. Rogers over here doing this in the chair. I'm about to take my shoes off here. But anyway, just want to tell you about what's going on with this 71 Plymouth RoadRunner, real deal RM VIN code. Green Go is the paint color. Not Go Green, Green Go. Anyway, this engine came out of the 71 Rally Charger that you guys know about. You've seen Jaden and I pull that. It was about 6-8 months ago. Sold it to my buddy Larry. He was wanted to have me drop it in the 71 RoadRunner, which is fine. That motor ended up being all rebuilt. I've known about that car probably for 25 years now, and that motor's been sitting in there. So we were able to spin it over. Everything looked good inside. All brand new stuff. Changed out a few gaskets here and there. The only problem with it is they were robbing parts off that thing. So I dropped it in. I was missing a motor mount bracket on the driver's side, and those are not easy to find. Those are offset, and those are 340 motor mount brackets, not the rubber engine mounts. So anyway, I was able to come up with one. We got it dropped in. My buddy decided he wanted to do brand new engine motor mounts, the rubber ones, which are easy to find. So I knew we were going to have to pull it out anyway. Well, today my goal was to drop that distributor in, and I looked down the back of the distributor hole and noticed there is no intermediate oil pump shaft in there. So I go over to my parts truck, 1979 custom D100, and I was going to pull that intermediate shaft out of the back of that one and use it. Well, that was a fiasco getting that one out, but I did do it. I go and drop it in the 340 and noticed it's wallowing around in there like it's not sitting right. So I pull the motor. I'm like, I hope there's an oil pump on the bottom of this and somebody didn't steal the oil pump out of it and then just put the oil pan back up in the motor. So I pulled the engine, pulled the oil pan off, which I'm glad I did because then I could clean it and put some new gaskets under there. Sure enough, the oil pump is in there. And I noticed why it's wallowing around. There's no intermediate pump shaft brass bushing in the block. So I ordered that. And I ordered a new intermediate pump shaft as well. So they go together and they fit really nice. So we'll drop that in probably next week. So this is going to end up being a not one part like I usually do. Get them running and driving, take it for a rip. Maybe a 2-part. This is probably going to be like a 10-part series. And you guys will be totally bored by the time this one gets done. But at the same time, you'll be ready to see her rip tires and do donuts in the rock driveway. So anyway, we'll keep on continuing with that. Tomorrow, we're going to get the 72 short bed Chevy C10 utility truck. Looks like it's about Chevy orange too, original paint. Heard it's got a nice engine knock in it, which is fine. I knew about that truck probably for like 2 or 3 years, and I just kept looking at it, and finally I was like, time to get it. I'm tired of seeing it right away. So we'll go grab that one. And then while I got parts on order for the 71, I could go over and work on the 72 truck and vice versa. And it's nice. It's a nice little change too. I love doing this stuff. You guys know I love it. And you guys love it too. But sometimes, you know, it's nice to take a little break too. That's why I like to do motorcycles every once in a while. But, so, that's the story. That's the story on what we got going on here. Don't forget, we got 15,000 subscribers, or close to it. Maybe 14.8. I can't remember. 20,000, tell your friends. We'll do a live video. Then you guys could ask all your crazy questions and really put me on the spot. Anything about, you guys want to ask anything about the Marine Corps? Anything about car stuff? Some of the cars we had around here? I'd love to answer them. So we got to hit 20,000 on that, and I'll do that. That's no problem. I'd love to do that for you guys. But other than that, that's the story. That's where we're at. I'm Brad. This is Poor Boy's Garage. I'm alone and unafraid. That's okay, though. And let them rip, not rot. Of course, that's how we do it. I'll see you guys later.